But if any person looks objectively at America, the America that I was born into was so much more wholesome than the America you're being born into. America is morally, in the whole Western world, it's sinking. And the center of it is we've lost the value of family. Every day it's sadder than the day before. Sadder. I'm not going to say more sinful because it's just sad. It's a sad place. When you go to the airport and there's men's bathrooms and women's bathrooms and whatever you want to be bathrooms, that's not, people are trying to be kind, but it's sad. We live in America. We live in the Western world, live in America. We're living in such a wonderful place, Begashmias. But we're also living in a society which is very sad. There's no country in the history of the world was ever close to as rich as America is. Poor people in America, who are living on government assistance, are richer than rich people lived just 150 years ago. Push it. Poor people have apartments and running water and gas and food and school and clothes. We're an incredibly rich society, but we're so sad. We're such a failure. In America today, the family is breaking down more and more and more. There's a divorce rate that's way over 50%. And then you have all these new diseases about people. Is it Michigassen? The world was nuts. It's never been clearer why you have to be from. Never been clear why it's good to be from. But if any person looks objectively at America, the America that I was born into was so much more wholesome than the America you're being born into. America is morally, in the whole Western world, it's sinking. And the center of it is we've lost the value of family. We've lost the value of marriage. You grow up, you get married, you stay married, and you raise kids. You live in a world where the world around you is giving you one message, and the world in it is giving you a very, very different message. To live as a frum Jew is much harder than to live as a non-frum Jew. But you know what? This is where happiness is. This is where meaning is. In the secular world, people have experiences. They go on trips, they go on vacations, they eat good food, they go to good restaurants. But life, in one word, if I may say so, is family. You know what it means to be a religious person? The center of your life is the person you marry and the home you build. This is what you're learning here. Out there, you're getting a very different message. And as much as I would like it not to be that way, most of you know what's going on out there. You see it online, you went to camp, you've been in the real world. You know how the world thinks and how the world feels. And you struggle with the juxtaposition of these two worlds. Why do we have to dress this way? Why do we have to be so different? Why does our life have to be so challenging and so hard? And the answer is, girls, because this is life. Not to get married and not to have kids and have beautiful clothing and a wonderful apartment and eating in the best restaurants is sad. It's sad. It's called not growing up. It's remaining, you can be 7 years old and be a child. I want. Life is about working to create something meaningful. And really, the truth of the matter is, it's getting married, building a home, and with Hashem's help, having healthy children. And this is our values. This is part of why you went to school all these years, not just to learn Chumash, but to learn Yiddishkeit. And Yiddishkeit is to understand clearly the difference between our value system and how we live and what's unfortunately around us. And every day it's sadder than the day before. Sadder. I'm not going to say more sinful because it's just sad. It's a sad place. When you go to the airport and there's men's bathrooms and women's bathrooms and whatever you want to be bathrooms, that's not, people are trying to be kind. But it's sad. It's sad. It's sad that we've fallen so low. The contrast between what you learn in your home and in your school and in your community and the world around you is bold and striking. What you're supposed to take out of school is embracing this. Saying, this is right, this is good, this is better. Harder, but this is how I want to live my life. In other words, Yiddishkeit is not just somebody else forcing you, this is what you do, this is how you dress, this is how you talk, and this is what you do, and now today you can't put on a light, and tomorrow you can't make a fire, and the day after that you can't do something else, can't eat food. Yiddishkeit is a way of life. It's not a bunch of rules, and that way of life has rules. And those rules are not there to punish you or to make you suffer. Those rules are there to give you an opportunity to live a meaningful life. And unfortunately, every day, the contrast between that world and this world becomes clearer and clearer. And it's everybody's hope that when you come out of school, you understand the reason we're from. You understand the reason we get married young. We understand the reason why we have more than one child. You understand the reason why we do all the things that make our lives hard, because that is called being grown up, and that is called meaning. And this is where happiness is. The people in this world who have so much money and can do anything they want, all the things you wish you could do that you can't afford, they're not happy. Now, of course, it's easy for me to say, it's my job, I'm the brainwasher, right? I'm supposed to sell religion's package, but it's also factual. It's also true. It's not just because I'm saying it. It's because an adult person is not going to be satisfied by eating in another restaurant. An adult person is going to be satisfied by creating something, by living with another human being forever, not for a few years. And these are the values of Yiddishkeit, and on a higher level, the values of Chassidus that are supposed to come across through all the learning that you do. You learn a lot of things from a lot of teachers, but that's really the end message, the pneumius of all of the things that you're learning in school, is learning why it's good to be a Yid. And I will say this to you, that tragically it's a lot easier for you to understand than it was even when I was growing up, because the world has become sadder and sadder. And that's what you're doing here. That's what you're doing in seminary. You're taking in Yiddishkeit. You're taking in the way of life of Yiddishkeit. And as much as you hear in the world about feminism and women competing with men, and I'm not saying you shouldn't have a job, I'm not saying you shouldn't have a career, I'm saying it's not the most important thing. It's not the most important thing. The most important thing is your family. And yeah, one day you'll find out it's actually your father and your mother. As much as you're supposed to hate them, it's them. And your husband, and of course your children you're going to love no matter what. That's the most important thing. That's the most important thing. And whatever you want to do with your life, don't forget that.